The old man would die before the ambulance arrived. Dr. Mitchell saved her. When she saw the military tattoo on his arm, her world collapsed. This was the man they had been searching for 35 years. From which city around the world are you watching this video today? Write it in the comments. And if you believe the hidden connections of the past deserve to be revealed, don't forget to subscribe. In the heart of Denver, on East Colfax Avenue, it was an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. The weather was cold. Snow was expected. Only a few people were waiting at the bus stop. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, 34 years old, was an emergency room doctor at Denver General Hospital. Her shift had ended that day. She was going home. While waiting for the bus, she was checking messages on her phone. The old man standing next to her, around 78 years old, was waiting calmly, holding an old walking stick. Gray-haired, lined face, but still upright posture. He looked like someone trying to maintain his old military bearing. The man's name was James Robert Conway, Vietnam veteran, living alone, no children, same routine every week, goes to the store, gets his medications, comes home, ordinary, quiet retiree. While Sarah was focused on her phone, she heard a sound from beside her. The old man was having trouble breathing. "Sir, are you okay?" Sarah asked. James pressed his hand to his chest. I think I'm having a heart attack." Sarah immediately switched to doctor mode. She put her phone in her pocket, knelt down next to the old man. "I'm a doctor. Stay calm. I'll help you." James collapsed to the ground. Couldn't breathe. His face went pale. Cold sweats were pouring. Sarah immediately called 911. "Emergency. Heart attack patient. East Colfax Avenue, 15th Street corner. Send ambulance immediately." After hanging up, she checked James's pulse. Very weak, irregular. The situation was serious. "What's your name?" she asked, trying to keep the patient conscious. James Conway." Sarah immediately started CPR. Chest compressions, rescue breathing, compressions again. While trying to open James's jacket and shirt, she noticed something on his left arm. A faded, old tattoo, military looking. At first, she couldn't see it clearly, but as she continued chest compressions, she could see it better. Charlie Company, 1st Infantry Division. Below it a date, 1970, 1971, and a small map of Vietnam. Sarah's hands started trembling. She had seen that tattoo before, in her father's photographs. No, this can't be possible, she thought. But the tattoo looked very similar. James was having trouble breathing. Sarah was trying to stay professional, but storms were raging in her mind. "Which unit were you in?" she asked while continuing CPR. James answered with difficulty breathing. "Charlie Company, 1st Infantry, Vietnam." Sarah's heart stopped. Her father's unit, the place her father never returned from. "When did you serve in Vietnam?" "From 1970 to 1971. Why are you asking?" Sarah couldn't answer. Because her father, Robert Mitchell, was also in the same unit during the same period. And he never came back. Until the ambulance arrived, Sarah mechanically continued CPR. But her mind was somewhere else entirely. Questions she had wondered about for 35 years. Details about her father she could never learn. When the paramedics arrived, they put James on a stretcher. Sarah explained the situation to them, said she wanted to accompany him to the hospital. At the hospital, they took James to intensive care. His condition was critical but stable. Sarah had to wait. An hour later, James regained consciousness. Sarah was by his side. "Doctor, you saved me. How can I thank you?" Sarah took a deep breath. "Mr. Conway, may I ask you a question? When you were in Charlie Company in Vietnam, did you know anyone named Robert Mitchell?" James's face changed. He went pale. His eyes became blurry. "Robert Mitchell? Yes, I knew him. He was a very good soldier. We were friends." Sarah's voice trembled. "He was my father." James went into shock. You're Robert's daughter?" "Yes. My father never came back from Vietnam. He went missing in 1971. We never learned what happened." James started crying. The old man's tears were flowing down his cheeks. "I know what happened, because I was there that day." Sarah collapsed into the chair. The moment she had been waiting for 35 years had come. "What happened? Please tell me." James took a deep breath. "April 15th, 1971, patrol mission near Saigon. Robert, me and 4 more friends. We fell into an ambush." He paused, wiped his tears. "When enemy fire started, Robert protected me. He threw himself on me. He protected me while bullets were coming." Sarah held her breath. "I was wounded, couldn't move. Robert carried me to a safe place. Then he went back, tried to save the other friends." James's voice broke. "The last time I saw him, he had gone under enemy fire. After saving me, he went to save others. So what happened next? Helicopter came, they rescued me. But they couldn't find Robert. He was listed as missing. I was wounded, sent home." Sarah was crying. "So my father died as a hero." "No, James's voice hardened. He was a true hero. He saved me. If it weren't for him, I would have died there. Sarah looked at the old man. For 35 years, she knew nothing about her father. Now there was someone in front of her who knew him. What else do you know about my father? James smiled. He was very kind-hearted. He constantly talked about his family, about his wife Helen, about his little daughter Sarah. He carried your photo with him. Really? Yes. Every evening he would look at that photo and smile. He was planning to buy you a bicycle when he got home. Sarah's heart tightened. Knowing that her father remembered her was very precious. So why didn't you ever contact our family? 35 years have passed. James bowed his head. Because I had shame. Robert saved me, but I couldn't save him. I felt guilty for surviving. He paused. Tears came again. I look at his photo every day. I never forgot. But I didn't have the courage to face his family. Sarah took the old man's hand. You're not guilty. My father was there to save you. That's who he was. James looked at Sarah. You look just like him. Same eye color, same determined look. Do you really remember my father? Every detail. His laughter, his stories, the light in his eyes when he talked about you. Sarah stayed by James's side that night. The old man told about her father's days in Vietnam, how Robert was, how he protected his friends, how he constantly missed his family. Once Robert told me, James said, if I don't return from this war, I know my daughter Sarah will be a strong woman. She's my pride. Sarah was crying but happy. Finally, she was learning her father's story. The next day, James was discharged. Sarah took him home. The old man's house was small, simple, but clean. I want to show you something, James said. He went to the bedroom, brought an old box. Inside were photographs from Vietnam. Here, he said, showing her father's photo. And here you are too. Sarah saw an old photograph. Her father in uniform, smiling. A little girl's photo in his pocket. Is this my photo? Yes. You were 4 years old. Robert always carried it with him. Sarah touched that photo. Her father had never forgotten her. James continued, when I learned you became a doctor, I was very surprised. Robert always said my daughter will be someone who helps people. Did he really say that? Yes. He said Sarah's very smart. When she grows up, she'll heal people. He was right. Sarah talked with James for hours that day. She learned about her father's last days, his friendships, his days in the war. When she was going home in the evening, she called her mother, Helen, Mom. I learned something important about Dad. What did you learn? Helen's voice was excited. I found a man Dad saved in Vietnam. Dad died as a hero. That night, Sarah introduced her mother to James. Helen listened to her husband's last days after 35 years. I loved Robert very much, James told Helen. He saved me. That's why I didn't dare to meet you. Helen was crying. Robert always thought of others. I'm glad you saved him. From that day on, James entered Sarah and Helen's lives. He was no longer alone. Robert's family had accepted him. Sarah visited James every week, listening to new stories about her father. James also followed the surgeries Sarah performed at the hospital, proudly telling, Robert's daughter saves lives. A year later on Veterans Day, Sarah, James, and Helen visited the Vietnam Memorial together. They found Robert Mitchell's name on the wall. James stood at attention in front of the memorial. Robert, your daughter would make you proud. She was your dream. Sarah touched her father's name. Finally, she knew her father's story, and she had met the man her father saved. This story teaches us this. The past never disappears. Sometimes it emerges at the most unexpected moments. Sarah wasn't just saving a patient that day. She was also finding her own past. James lived in shame for 35 years, but the truth is Robert would want him to survive, because true heroes make sacrifices for others to live. Have you experienced such a connection in your life too? A secret from the past? A connection? Write in the comments. If you like this story, don't forget to subscribe. We're here for the hidden connections of the past.